Hi, everybody. I'm Alex Marqueski from Sign Builder Illustrated. We're live from the ISA show floor. Brittany Gacsy from Sign Producers Inc., aka SPI, was gracious enough to bless us with her time here at the show floor. She was an honorable mention for the Top Young Sign Makers competition. It was a very, very competitive process. Over 45 nominees. She very well could have been a medalist. But she took the honorable mention status, and we were very happy to have her content in the magazine. So, Brittany's 36 from Orlando. She is the Executive Director of Project Management, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what got you into signage? How did you kind of make your mark in the industry locally?
So I fell into signage, which I'm sure most people fall into it.
Yeah.
It's not a planned thing. But I started my career when I was young, trying to get into art, trying to get into design, aspiring to be a Walt Disney Imagineer.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were pretty into graphic design and things like that?
So I have a master's of architecture,
Okay.
and I went to school for interior design, construction management, and graphics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and all those things sort of swirled together, and I got out of college at University of Michigan, and I was like, I want to be an Imagineer. That's what I want to do. And
so that explains the move to Orlando?
Yeah, the turn of fate in that moment, I got a job in Walt Disney Imagineering.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
I worked there for 8 years, doing fabrication design and fabrication project management.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when did SPI come about in terms of it being your main focus? How long has this been your role?
So I've been doing this role for 3 years.
Okay.
When I was at Imagineering, you're on the design side, right? You're trying to put things together. You're trying to create these stories, which is wonderful. And I had such a wonderful experience there. But sometimes getting into the nitty gritty is where you want to be.
Yeah.
You want to know about welding. You want to know about fabrications and casting and resin and illumination.
So eventually you felt like you were outgrowing your role with the Imagineers?
Yeah, I just wanted to learn. I wanted to learn something different, something that wasn't kind of a part of that group and culture.
Okay.
And I wanted to expand my knowledge, so I left. I still get to work with them every day.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And I work with Universal Creative, and I work with all of the other larger kind of themed hospitality companies, and we do tons of graphics and collaboration with them. We do show sets, props too. But I kind of fell into that.
Wow, that's incredible. So that, if you haven't read her story on signshop.com, she's essentially the creative liaison for every project that she gets involved with. Meaning, you could be involved in the first renderings all the way down to fabrication.
Yeah.
That's true?
Yeah, depending on the job. There are some jobs that, we have done the full-on graphic design and taken all the way through fabrication. And sometimes we get a concept and we're like, hey, this is, a logo, and we take the logo and we turn it into something.
So you take a logo, turn it into a sign that goes over a ride or a restaurant.
Yeah, and we do all of our own fabrication design. We do all of our own electrical, structural, all of the prototyping, because many of the elements have never been made before. So
what was it like assembling a team like that? Were you involved in the assembly of the team?
The team existed before I got there.
Okay.
Mike Chimay, who owns Sign Producers Inc. and has for roughly 20 years.
Okay.
He's assembled a team of wonderful individuals that really, even before me, had already been there as far as fabrication, design, and fabricators that are able to create these experiences.
So even with your prior experience to Imagineers, it was still a high-class situation where you were just involved with the best of the best?
Yeah, and so me coming on board just allowed us to take more projects on, larger projects, to be able to focus more on the project management side and get more into that creative avenue, because prior to that it was a little smaller and didn't have enough time to kind of deal with all of the paperwork and all of the back and forth and approvals that it takes to work with these companies.
That's great. It sounds like a nice scenario for you right now.
Yeah, it's a wonderful job. Okay,
so the 2 images you submitted in the competition was a Jurassic Park themed ride and then a Super Mario themed ride, which Super Mario is all the rage now, especially with the movie. Are those 2 of your favorites, or can you walk us through maybe, just some behind-the-scenes stuff on some of your favorite projects?
So all of the projects when I'm working on them are my favorites.
Okay.
When I'm working on them, they're my favorites.
Yes.
When they're done, they're my favorites. In the middle, they're all not my favorites.
Yeah.
But Velocicoaster was a really wonderful experience because we got to be on multiple avenues of that
Really?
project. We were a part of the props and the show set, and we do all the other signs in the attraction too. The poster graphics in the hallway, the operational signs on all the doors.
So that was a, all-encompassing project.
Yeah.
That was not just a sign over the ticket booth.
No. We try to get projects where we can actually immerse ourselves into the team and be able to do all those parts and pieces so that it comes in as one cohesive effort.
So will you go as far as, or have you ever, wrapped some roller coaster cars?
We do a couple stuff on coasters. It's usually minimal. Sometimes we'll wrap it. We provided a lot of insert panels, custom panel pieces that go on the ride manufacturer fiberglass.
Okay, and so, we're at a sign-themed show.
Yeah.
So it's on top of everybody's minds. But, a lot of these sign shops are wondering, how can I get young talent into my shop when I'm competing with Industry X, Industry Y, that might seem a little more, a little more shiny in the eyes of a young person. Can you talk about how your journey has gone as a young person in this industry, and what would you recommend for someone who wants to get into it?
So, someone who wants to get into the industry, putting in the work when you're young and you're hungry and you want to actually learn, it's really important. And I think that it's a difficult time where a lot of young people in the industry want to come in and they want to lead projects and they want to be in charge. Well, ultimately, you have to do the work.
You got to cut your teeth in the industry.
And it's very important, not because you want to work your way up, but that's how you learn.
Yep.
You learn by making small mistakes before you get to the place where you're able to make large mistakes.
Exactly. And maybe in school, making a mistake is seen as a big deal. It can get you down. But in the work, it's essentially unavoidable in the workplace.
Right. And mistakes involve money, but it's not about making the mistakes. It's about how you deal with the mistakes.
It's
about how you can learn to pivot, how you can learn to come up with creative solutions to move forward. We're always we work with the theme parks. Everything is custom and new. We've always never done the thing that we're about to do. So
true. Everything's a new endeavor for you.
Correct. And we never know the problem that will come up, but being able to work through it and pivot. And I think for us as a company, we're a very family tight-knit company.
Oh, really?
So we all have a really good collaboration and good vibe in the environment.
Great. That's great.
So we're all working together to kind of come up with solutions. And even the new individuals that come in, we try to take their feedback and their ideas as potential solutions, even though they may not have the experience, because it could spark a more creative solution than we would have gotten without their input.
That's interesting. All right, well, that's great to hear. So once again, if you want to learn about Brittany, go to signshop.com. You can see her featured in the Young Sign Makers article. And, once again, we all really appreciate the advice and you taking the time to stop by today.
Oh, thank you.
We'll be seeing each other later tonight at the Young Sign Makers dinner, which we'll have some of the other winners there, and we'll take a picture and everybody can see it on LinkedIn. So once again, thanks again for your time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And, safe travels on your way home.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
So, Brittany was also explaining that not only does she work at SPI and handle all types of projects on the daily, she also is a professor at the University of Florida in Gainesville.
There's a satellite campus in Orlando, so it makes it really easy.
Oh, okay, perfect.
But it's for University of Florida City Lab, which has a couple specializations, one of them being themed environments. Okay, so is this something that existed prior to you, and then you kind of took it to a next level, or did you implement this process? So Steve Grant, who kind of brought this program from being a certificate to being a Master's of Science in Architecture, he completely developed the program, but I have kind of added to what he's been doing. And so she was explaining that the goal is to, essentially take a young person who is studying, has interest in being involved in signage, design, graphics, architecture, any of the related fields that all of the companies here are kind of growing from. So she's essentially mentoring them and giving them industry insight that, if you listen to the whole interview, you would know that it's valuable information that's being passed on to these students. So what motivated you to do this? Is it you just are enjoying yourself in the industry and you figured out how to utilize your talents? Why not help other people? Yeah, I had so many mentors in every part from college to my time at Imagineering and then all of the contractors I worked with, so many mentors, that I felt that the only way to give back is to give forward.
That's
so
great.
At my time at Imagineering, I had a ton of interns. Most of my interns are still working at Imagineering.
Oh, really?
And I really enjoyed helping them kind of establish their career and being the person that they could lean on when they had thoughts, decisions, problems, conflicts. I think that mentoring people is the best way you learn yourself. It allows you to be self-reflective and really go, yes, I also do these things.
Yeah.
How can I be better? And it makes you a better leader when you're able to mentor people. It holds you accountable.
And, you keep those people in your network 6-7 years down the line. Maybe you need someone to fill an executive role that they'll be capable of.
Yeah, I work still to this day, because we work with Disney and Universal. I still work with many of the people that were my interns, and I still work with many of the people that were my mentors.
Really?
And it's a really wonderful network that when I don't know, I have people to call, and when they don't know, they have me to call. And it's a good system, and it makes you feel like you're part of a larger thing in this world.
Yeah, that's great. So you mentioned you went to Michigan, correct?
Yes.
Was that for undergrad or was that for your MBA?
So a Master's of Architecture. So okay. I went there. I went to Michigan for my Master's of Architecture. I went to Purdue.
Okay.
For interior space planning.
Oh,
and
cool.
Then graphic design and building construction management.
So
I spent a long time in school.
Were you a Midwest kid?
Yes, from Indiana.
Okay.
Born and raised in Indiana.
And so the choice to migrate to Orlando was based on the Imagineers program?
Yeah, I went to my advisor Thanksgiving weekend, I think, and I was like, hey, I want to be an Imagineer, like everybody wants to be an Imagineer.
You were still in school. Well, you were in school, you knew.
And I was like, I want to be an Imagineer, and she mentioned that they didn't have anyone that worked at Disney. It wasn't more than a couple days later, she was like, hey, a guy came in here from Disney looking for an intern.
Wow.
And I basically immediately got a interview, and I have been there ever since. And to that day, he is still one of my mentors that I can talk to and ask.
That's amazing. So next year, I believe ISA is actually in your backyard.
Yes, in Orlando. Yes.
Do you guys have any fun plans in the mix? Are you going to show off some of your work to the people in the signage industry?
We might. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We would love to. Come take a camera and talk to you a little bit more and get to see what goes on behind the scenes.
That would be wonderful.
All right. Well, thanks again. Once again, this is Brittany. She is a signage expert in multiple fields, multiple realms, and we appreciate her taking the time.